Hello and welcome to the Champions Adjust Sports Talk Show. My name is Aaron Machbitz, and you guessed it, this show is sponsored by Champions Adjust, which is a sports performance brand that is driven by our mindset program, the Champions Adjust Mindset Program. So you can go to champsadjust.com to find out all of our mental skills, classes, and everything we offer in terms of mindset. We also host a podcast episode every single day, including this sports show once a week, and we also have really cool merchandise on our website. So head over to champsadjust.com for all of your Champions Adjust needs. But this is our sports show. This is episode 15 of our sports show. So let's start with Major League Baseball. I think this whole episode is Major League Baseball, which is the best sport in the world. So let's jump in. And first, and most importantly, we must discuss Juan Soto's 99 overall rating in MLB The Show. Also, Shohei Ohtani was rated a 99 overall, which makes a lot of sense. Aaron Judge was rated a 99 overall, which makes a lot of sense. Maybe I would have put him at 98 because he's not as good as Shohei Ohtani in terms of overall, doesn't have as many skills, but Aaron Judge is still one of the best players in the game, reigning MVP, all of that good stuff. But Juan Soto being rated a 99 overall in MLB The Show is atrocious. I don't know who makes these decisions. I don't know who looks at the ratings or who gives the ratings, but whoever did it in terms of Major League Baseball's decision to rate Juan Soto a 99 overall is atrocious. Like, when you really look at Juan Soto, he has one tool. One tool. Why is Shohei Ohtani ranked at 99? Because he can hit, he can run, he can pitch when he's healthy, he has speed, he plays defense, he hits for power, he hits for average. He has every single tool in the book. When you look at a 99 overall rated player, you think like when Ronald Acuna is healthy, when Mike Trout is healthy, players like Alex Rodriguez of the past or Barry Bonds in the past. These are five-tool baseball players that should be rated at 99. Juan Soto has one skill. Yes, he is an elite hitter. He can hit for power. He can hit for average. He gets on base, but he's a subpar defender. He's not going to steal any bases. He's probably not even going to go first to third when he can. He's going to go base to base, and he just clogs up the base pass. Not like Trout or Acuna or Ohtani, right? Guys who have speed on the base pass, of course, when healthy. Yes, Juan Soto is a once-in-a-lifetime generational hitter when it comes to his plate discipline, his approach, his power, gap to gap, hitting for average, getting on base. All of these things are elite. So though his hitting might be a 99 overall, his overall ability as a baseball player is not a 99. It is just not. He's a subpar defender, right? Subpar. Again, no speed. Yes, he has a good throwing arm when he actually gets to the baseball or sprints to it or gets to it in time for actually throw someone out. And he's not a 99 overall rated just because he got the biggest salary in the history, or the biggest contract, in the history of Major League Baseball does not mean it guarantees him to be rated 99 overall. Shohei Ohtani, yes. Mike Trout when healthy, yes. Ronald Acuna when healthy. Mookie Betts overall is a better baseball player than Juan Soto. He has more tools. He brings more skills and more intangibles to the game. And we're going to talk about Mookie Betts in this episode, but I just thought it was very important to discuss that. And I think he is actually an overrated baseball player. Now, that seems shocking, again, for someone who just got a $756 million contract to say that he's overrated. But yes, of course, he makes the Mets better. Yes, of course, he made the Yankees better. I would argue the Yankees now are even better without Juan Soto when they added those certain pieces around their team. Yes, the Mets are better. Yes, of course, they're better with Juan Soto. He's one of the best hitters that we've ever seen, but he doesn't really bring all that other extra stuff with him in terms of the other tools that make a five-tool baseball player. Because in this day and age, in today's day and age, Alex Rodriguez and Barry Bonds being two of the greatest baseball players that ever lived, Barry Bonds, one being the greatest baseball player that's ever lived, would get $1 billion to play baseball right now. And they're not, all three of those guys aren't even in the same category. You look at the tools that Alex Rodriguez and Barry Bonds brought to the table, and Juan Soto is missing half of them. Yes, he's elite at the plate. Yes, he's elite at the plate. But what about defense? What about running? What about all these other tools and skills that make you a complete baseball player that would give you a 99 overall rating in Major League Baseball, the show? So I just wanted to talk about that. And the next topic is a very interesting one that causes sort of a lot of debate inside and outside of Major League Baseball. But during spring training, MLB.com surveyed clubhouses, asking players for their opinions on a certain range of topics. And I thought this one was interesting. They surveyed well over 100 players in exchange for some anonymity. So a bunch of players decided to join and answer some questions. And an interesting topic was brought up: which Major League Baseball player would excel most at another professional sport? A lot of sports fans wondered this question a lot. Like, many of us think, like, what are some MLB players might be able to do if they're playing another pro sport, whether they have an enormous frame, or they're incredibly fast, or have any other athletic gifts that lends itself well across sports. It's fun to think about. So again, MLB asked players which of their peers they are most likely to see excel in other professional sports. Now, baseball players, before we get into this, baseball players are skill driven. You have to be skilled at hitting the baseball, throwing the ball, fielding the ball, pitching the ball. Yes, being athletic, being fast, being quick, being agile, being strong always adds to that. Being mentally tough always adds to that. But first and foremost, as a baseball player, you have to be really good at your craft. And it's unlike other sports where in basketball or football or some like that, athleticism is really, really paramount. You have to be able to have speed and strength. All of these things have to be meshed together. And of course, you have to attack or put on top of that your craft, right? Your body and your craft. As athletes, we can train three things: our body, our craft, and our mind. Really, as human beings, we can train three things: our body, our craft, and our mind. Most people spend the majority of the time on their craft and their body and leave their mind up to chance. That's where Champions Adjust comes in. But as baseball players, our craft is so important because it's so skill driven. It's so skill driven. You see all the time these very unathletic pitchers being able to still throw the baseball 99 miles an hour and be successful at their job. You still see hitters who can't really run well. We just talked about Juan Soto, but they're still really, really good at hitting the baseball, driving the ball in the gap, hitting for average, hitting for power. So it's really, really skill driven. So not a lot of other sports could come into Major League Baseball and do that, because we know that hitting the baseball is the hardest thing to do in all of professional sports. So just because you're fast or strong or big or quick does gives you no advantage when trying to hit a baseball. There's a recent interview with Barry Bonds, and he said, could you still hit a 100-mile-per-hour fastball? Barry Bonds didn't say he would hit a home run. Barry Bonds said, yes, he could still hit it, because what Barry Bonds thought about was using his bat as a glove, and he just wanted to catch the baseball. That's why when you look at swings of Barry Bonds, it's so quick, it's short to it, it's compact, and then he had power through it. But he knew he could get the barrel to the ball by just thinking about catching the ball, and he could probably still do it now. And so this is an interesting question: which baseball players would be able to sort of transfer into other sports? And so the first guy that was brought up the most was Mookie Betts of the Dodgers, and the primary sport that all of these guys that they surveyed mentioned was bowling. Like, Betts is one of the best all-around players in the game. And he's certainly one of the best one of the best at baseball, right? He's well-rounded. He's one of the best at baseball. But the takeaway from the players' survey is that he's basically good at everything. So if you don't know about Mookie Betts, the players that got surveyed said he's basically good at everything. And I feel like he's good at them all. As one of the National League relievers said, I've seen him some bowling highlights. I've seen him in the gym shooting basketballs. I've seen his golf swing. His golf swing is elite. I'm going to let him pick whatever sport he wants. Another NL reliever was concise. Legitimately, whatever he chooses to be good at, he'd be good at. It makes sense that all of the opposing pitchers would feel that way about Betts' talent, right? Betts is elite, and you can see that through the way his preparation and his love of the game. There was a viral clip going around at some point that I showed a lot to my players, that Mookie Betts visualizes 30 or 40 at-bats before every single game throughout the day. He's just visualizing his at-bats, seeing himself succeed, walking through his preparation. His preparation is elite, and you can see that via the love of his game and visualizing his success, over and over and over again. Doesn't guarantee success, but it's made him consistently successful at the highest level. And his peers think that he could do it in almost any other sport. More specifically, they think he could be bowling, but apparently has an elite golf swing. He could do it all. The second guy I mentioned was Aaron Judge. And most people thought, he could play football, given that he's one of the most massive dudes, right? This one just makes sense. Judge is one of the most powerful and physically imposing players in baseball history. So it stands to reason that his peers would immediately think about playing football when asked this question. Obviously, the position mentioned a lot was tight end. He'd play tight end. Said some shortstop in the National League, throw it up there, he'd probably catch it, right? Go get it, Gronk style, or Travis Kelce style. I don't really know the size comparison between all of those cats, but I assume they're all quite large. I know Gronk is, and obviously Kelce is too, but we know Judge looks bigger than everyone else, because it's kind of random to see that big of a dude in professional baseball. And so Tom Brady, of course, would have absolutely loved throwing to Aaron Judge. And one NL starting pitcher alluded to what many pitchers are thinking when they see Judge at the plate, but applied it to football. I would love to see Aaron Judge as a tight end. He'd be a big guy. And the last guy you want to see cutting across the middle of the field, catching that football. So it'd always be cool, right? People always thought about what if LeBron James stepped into play football? Like he would be a beast of a tight end too. That dude's huge, strong, powerful, tough, could be a really good target across the middle of the field, lowering his shoulder, putting that head in there. And so Aaron Judge would be a great one, obviously. Number 3 mentioned, the third guy mentioned the most often was Elly De La Cruz, and then people also put him in football. De La Cruz has all the tools, not just for baseball. I think he could play football, says an NL outfielder. He's quick. I feel like he has fearless mentality. He just plays the game. He'll play whatever position, wide receiver, corner. He's tall, so he could probably go out and get it. He probably jumps through the fucking building, right? When it comes to the bases, De La Cruz certainly goes out and gets them, right? He led the majors by swiping 67 bases last season. So why not some receptions in football? That'd be a fun one to think about. And then you have this uber athlete. The fourth guy mentioned a ton was Bobby Witt Jr., and people think that he could play football as well, right? He had a huge season last year, almost winning the American League MVP, demonstrating his all-around ability with a 30 homer and 48 steal campaign. And also in 2022, you always want to take that kind of power speed combination from the diamond to the gridiron, and you could have yourself quite an offensive threat. Maybe like someone like, Christian McCaffrey. I don't know the size difference. I don't know how tall either of these guys are, but they're obviously beasts in the sport they play currently. But you think about Christian McCaffrey could not transfer over to baseball because he can't hit a baseball. Right? Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in professional sports. Unless you were a two-way college guy, you can't just jump into Major League Baseball and play. But some of these guys that are uber athletes in Major League Baseball who got really good at their craft could potentially transfer over their skills of speed, quickness, toughness, agility, height, frame, all of that over into the other sport, right? Bobby Witt Jr. was committed to Oklahoma prior to signing with the Royals, but perhaps he could have caught some passes from the 2019 Heisman Trophy runner-up, Jalen Hurts, who just won a Super Bowl as a true freshman. And so the fifth one, you get, there's a tie between Jose Ramirez, which people mention boxing a lot for him, Will Benson, people mention basketball for him, and Justin Verlander, who's going for his 20th season this year with the Giants. People mention golf a lot. So there was a 3-way tie. For the fifth gives us a variety of sports here, right? Jose Ramirez boxing was a popular choice among his peers for a sport which he'd be good at outside of baseball. And if you remember his confrontation, if you haven't seen his confrontation with Tim Anderson, please go look at it. You'll understand why people choose Jose Ramirez and boxing. Consider that Benson was nearly a basketball player at Duke. It's no surprise that his peers think he could be a great hooper. He was a preferred walk-on at Duke, said some AL outfielder. I think he would have been just fine there. And then, talk about other sports being able to play, right? Talk about other sports. I talked about this a little bit. Can't get my words out today, a little flustered, but here, stick with me. It's so hard, again, to hit a baseball, right? Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in professional sports, and there can be no argument from anyone on that. Put anyone from any sport who's ever been good at anything ever, and you put them in a Major League Baseball game, and you have him face Paul Skeens throwing 98 on the black with the cutter, with the movement, with the two-seam, with the slider, and then you say, go for it. Give him 100 at-bats. I bet he touches the baseball maybe once. But there are a ton of dudes in professional baseball who could just maybe handle themselves a little bit in other professional sports. Not saying they would excel, not saying they would be great. I mean, that's why we've only had guys like Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson. Doesn't happen a lot. That's also why Travis Hunter's comments, which I mentioned last week about Shohei Ohtani, are also really dumb. Because what Shohei Ohtani does is the hardest thing to do in professional sports, which is hit a baseball, which goes back to my original point of Juan Soto, is to maybe I'm talking my way out of my own thought process, but maybe that's why Juan Soto is rated a 99, because he is an elite hitter, and it's so damn hard to be an elite hitter that he's just given the 99 overall rating. I do think, though, honestly, he was given the 99 overall rating just because he got a $756 million contract, and the other guys that have gotten massive contracts just got 99 overall rating. And so I think this is how it went. But you have to think about how hard it is to hit a baseball. And that's why none of these other sports of basketball, soccer, football, whatever it is, just can transfer over and play. Like we've seen some rugby guys go and transfer over to football because the skill set is about the same. You need to be tough, quick, strong, powerful. Yes, they can transfer over. That's why potentially someone like an Aaron Judge could go play tight end because he has the frame, the size, and he can learn some of those routes. But you know how long it takes to get really good at hitting a baseball? That's why you're a Hall of Famer if you have a 300 batting average. You're getting a hit 3 out of 10 times. If you're a receiver and you catch the ball 3 out of 10 times, you're probably getting cut from the team. Or if you're a quarterback who has a 30% completion rating, you're done. Right. And so some of these things are meant this way because of how hard they are. And we have to understand that as fans. Then it goes into this idea that baseball, which has been said all the time, is 90% mental. And yeah, maybe that's a weird sort of thing because then it's 10% physical. But if you ask Mike Trout and Jacob deGrom, it's all physical, right? Because those guys can't stay healthy. But we're praying to the baseball gods that Jacob deGrom and Mike Trout can stay healthy this year. People say it's 90% mental because of the rate at which you're not succeeding. I don't love to use the word failure when it comes to baseball, but I'm going to use it in this context because it just makes sense. But there's just so much failure. Every at bat, every inning, every play, all of this stuff just compounds and compounds and compounds. And you have to be able to have a goldfish mentality, like Ted Lasso says, be able to forget about it, use it as fuel, use it, let go of it, and then use it to motivate you to want to keep going. Yeah, other sports, of course, have failure and mistakes, but it just happens so rapidly and so quickly in baseball and so often that the mentality of a baseball player is usually bulletproof. Now, if you don't have a mental toughness attitude or you haven't trained your mental skills, like I mentioned, body, craft, mind, if you leave your mind up to chance, then you are going to get beat. You are going to get beat. People who have less talent but worked on their body, their craft, and their mind are going to overtake you because they're able to harness their potential, their full potential, when it matters most. And if you haven't trained your mind, you will not see your full potential flourish in those moments of quote unquote stress. Why was Derek Jeter and Tom Brady so good? Because they got the job done when they needed to the most and they worked on their mental skills. Talked about Mookie Betts, visualization, imagineering. That is a mental skill. Mookie Betts is seeing himself succeed 30 or 40 times before he even steps in the actual batter's box to play that game. That's what makes him elite. That's what makes him as consistent as possible. And consistency as a Major League Baseball hitter is 3 out of 10. And so the 7 other times, who knows what's happening? Maybe you're striking out, maybe you're hitting a ball hard, but you don't have control over who catches it. All of these sorts of things happen. So the baseball mentality is extremely important. You want to build an optimistic, mentally tough mind to handle adversity, say obstacles make me stronger, and I'm going to have a reset routine to be able to breathe, have a physical release, get back into it, a reset routine, something to flip the switch so I can let go of what just happened and be in the present moment, thinking about what's important now. So it's always an interesting discussion to think about what other sports, what are the athletes from different sports would be able to transfer into sports. Now, baseball or football and basketball, maybe there can be some interchanging there because you need to be big and tall and fast and quick. But a lot of the basketball guys are just skin and bones, and you need to have some absolute meat on your bones if you want to play in the National Football League. You need to be able to get hit and get back up and keep moving. But the size, the speed, the strength can be maybe interchangeable. I don't really know much about soccer and how that would interchange with some sports, but obviously those guys are in incredible shape. They're fast, they're quick, and they can move. So potentially could transfer over to a different sport. But hitting a baseball, again, in Major League Baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports, and you can't just jump on the field and do it. It's something that you train over and over and over again. So to look at the guys who actually hit on a consistent level, who are one of the best hitters of all time, you're thinking your Albert Pujolses, your Manny Ramirez, your Miguel Cabrera, right? Your Ken Griffey Jr. These guys, elite hitters, and that's why it's so impressive to see what they do. That's why there's very few guys with 3,000 hits. That's why there's very few guys with a 300 career batting average or more. That's why there's very few guys with over 500 home runs. So if you get one of those things, it's sort of an immediate Hall of Fame career. And it's very, very impressive. So finally, after going on that little tangent, which I found very exciting, we will talk about 8 notable players facing a position change in the upcoming 2025 season. This is an all baseball episode because we're getting very, very close to opening day, and you got to love it. Thank God for baseball. So first thing we'll talk about, again, we've talked about Mookie Betts a lot. Big fans of Mookie Betts over here. He plays for the Dodgers. His new position will potentially be shortstop. And Betts has already tried his hand at shortstop, starting 61 games for LA in 2024, all before being hit by a pitch that fractured his left hand in June. He returned in August and moved back to right field for the rest of the Dodgers World Series winning season. But general manager Brandon Gomes confirmed in the winter meetings in December that Betts will be the starting shortstop in 2025. He's a 6-time Gold Glove winner in the outfield. Betts struggled at shortstop last season. He did, accounting for a -4 outs above average, OAA, outs above average, OAA, at the position, and often misfiring on throws to first base. But with the benefit, again, of a full offseason to correct those issues, and we talked about how Mookie Betts has elite preparation. So he used this offseason to get as ready as possible to be as good as he can be in there. And so everyone says, like his peers said, he could be good at anything he tried. So let's see Mookie Betts absolutely succeed and dominate at shortstop this season, right? Betts was drafted out of high school as a shortstop in 2011, so should be better defensively this year, or at least, the Dodgers hope for that. If not, LA certainly has some other options, including Kiki Hernandez, Miguel Rojas, or Tommy Edman. Then you might see, again, the next guy, you might see Jose Altuve, who still plays for the Astros. You might see him move to left field, or at least play a little bit of left field in the 2025 season, right? He's a career Astro. They lost Alex Bregman. He was open to move to outfield from second base if it meant Houston could manage to bring back Alex Bregman. That did not happen. He's with the Boston Red Sox. But even with that signing, Altuve is still going to test out his skills in left field. He is expected to spend some time during spring training in left, a position that he's never played before in Major League Baseball. All of his 1,749 regular season starts have come at second base, and all of his freaking postseason starts. And he has a lot of postseason experience and postseason starts. Altuve did rank 36th out of 37 qualifying second baseman in 2024 with that -9 OAA, outs above average. So a move to left field would allow the Astros to improve their defense and also let Yordan Alvarez spend more time as a designated hitter to keep him healthy long term. And whether the veteran Altuve can hold his own in left field, obviously, remains to be seen. But he's someone who will do whatever he can, right? Because if it helps Houston win, he certainly will try. If it helps Houston win, he certainly will try. That's why Houston has succeeded for such a long time, because all of their players are willing to do whatever it takes to win what's best for the team. And you'll see that in a different situation here as we move through this list. And then we come to Mike Trout. Mike Trout plays for the Angels. He's going to move to right field, and hopefully all baseball fans are hoping that this makes a difference, right? He had yet another injury-filled year that significantly limited his playing time. He had a torn meniscus, surgically repaired twice. Trout, once again, simply wants to stay on the field. That's the move. That's why the move to right field. He wants to spend as much time on the field as possible. His impending move to right field from center is just aimed at helping with that, intending to limit the overall beatdown and wear and tear on his body. Like, he's 33 years old. We don't know how many seasons, at least full seasons, we have left of Mike Trout. And he's just averaged 66.5 games a year for the past 4 seasons and hasn't played more than 140 games since 2018. So we're hoping the move to corner outfield might be strange for Trout at first, but it's something that probably could help him and hopefully will help him, so we can see him play 140, 150 games, right? It's like, yeah, we're praying to the baseball gods. All of us are praying to the baseball gods that Mike Trout has a full season healthy, like 130, 140 games of a healthy Mike Trout, because we're not going to be able to see him much longer. And he's one of the greatest players of this generation. He kind of has the Ken Griffey Jr. effect, one of the greatest players, great talents, unbelievably good seasons for a long stretch of time, but just riddled with a ton of injuries that just limited how great he could actually be. And so we are just praying to the baseball gods that we get a full season of Mike Trout healthy. Doesn't matter if he's playing left field, right field, DH, center field, it doesn't matter. Whatever helps him stay on the field as long as possible. We pray to the baseball gods that we get 140, 130, 135, 150 games from Mike Trout. And so it's going to be good for the Angels, because the Angels have some defensive benefits that could be intriguing from this, right? They have this one-time top prospect, Joe Adell, an AL Gold Glove finalist in right field last season, is in line to get a chance to play center field for the first time, while 2016 #1 overall draft pick Mikey Moniak uh, will split time with Adele. So it could give them a boost, especially if Trout stays healthy. Those two guys produce like potentially they can, and maybe the Angels make a run. But they probably won't make a run. I don't care if the Angels make a run. I mean, it would be amazing to have Mike Trout have a full season healthy and then have a full season or then have a postseason run. That would be incredible if the baseball gods blessed us with that, simply because you love to see great players do great. But we just want 140 games of Mike Trout to see what he can do. One maybe MVP season left in him before he retires and goes away from baseball and spends the rest of his days, being a father and a husband and all those great things. Maybe we can get one more full season out of him. Then you have Alex Bregman of the Red Sox. His new position may be second base, potentially. Bregman said he is willing to play wherever manager Alex Cora deploys him. But where will that be? With Rafael Devers insistent about staying at third base and teammate Tristan Casas backing him up, Bregman's natural position at the hot corner might be in jeopardy. For what it's worth, Bregman has been better defender. He won the 2024 AL Gold Glove at third, while Devers has a -6 OAA. And was tied for the 36th among 43 qualifying third basemen. This is why the Red Sox do not win, because Rafael Devers is not willing to do anything different to help his team win. Even though they got a third baseman who's better defensively than him, he's not willing to do whatever it takes to allow the team to win. That's why the Boston Red Sox probably won't win this year. And that's why Houston always makes it as far as they do, because their guys are willing to do what it takes to win, to change positions, to drop the ego, to have some humility, to play for something bigger than yourself. That's what culture is about. And usually the Boston has a good winning culture. They've been a winning baseball club for a long time. But this weird thing that happened with Devers and Tristan Casas just not wanting to do anything or saying things out loud to the public and the media just to cause more rift and strife before Bregman even had a chance to, put his shit in his locker. Like, it's just not what your culture should be like if you want to win World Series. Now, if you just care about yourself and your stats and your career, great. But baseball is a team sport. Baseball is about having a culture of guys who are just trying to do the same thing. Their nose and toes are headed in the same direction. And Bregman is better. He's a better defender than Devers. It's clear from the stats and the numbers. But still, Bregman could wind up at second base, where he has made 9 career appearances, but none since 2018. If he does, he will likely be a consistent starter at a position where the Red Sox have sorely needed one. So Bregman moving to second is something that actually helps the team win. Just like he had that culture instilled in him, that winning culture instilled in him at LSU, at Houston, and now he's doing whatever it takes. Whatever he said, told the manager, I will do whatever it takes to win and whatever helps the team, right? So if he does, he will be a consistent starter. 11 players started at least one game at second base for Boston in 2024, by far the team's most at any non-position play or non-pitcher position. Really good with my words today. Here we go. Stick with me. I promise I'm a professional. Next guy we have is Wilson Contreras of the Cardinals. His new position will probably be first base. Contreras caught a couple bad breaks, literally in 2024, fracturing his left arm when he was hit by a batter's backswing behind the plate in May, and fractured his right middle finger when he was hit by a pitch in August. He was limited to 85 games, but he has 15 homers and put up a team-leading 848 OPS. Excellent offensive numbers for a catcher, and still solid ones for first baseman if he potentially moves there, right? We saw Paul Goldschmidt leave, go to the Yankees. So first base is wide open for Contreras, who has never played more than 5 games there in any season. He did play good, a bit of a left field with the Cubs as a rookie in 2018, but he's made nearly all of his defensive appearances behind the plate. But being able to keep him healthy and give Ivan Herrera the bulk of playing time at catcher could pay dividends for St. Louis. It just makes them a better team offensively and potentially defensively if Contreras can figure it out over there at first base. Then you have O'Neal Cruz, whose new position might be center field, right? 6'7" and blessed with an absolute hose cannon for an arm. Cruz is a much-watched player no matter where he is on the field. Seeing him in center field for a full season for the first time should be enjoyable in 2025. He had 24 errors and below-average defense at shortstop, immediately caused the move in late 2024. Cruz performed well out there. In his debut, his new position, he recorded a +2 outs above average in 22 starts in center, right? His speed, arm strength have already earned him praise from his fellow Pirates teammates. And it's just a smart move to have him out there. In 2025, Cruz will get an opportunity to prove he's exactly that, like the athlete and the baseball player that he knows he can be. He's not a shortstop, definitely proved that, but he's definitely an athlete, definitely has a cannon, definitely have the speed. Now, can he get the right jumps, the right reads, the right looks off the bat to be an elite center fielder in Major League Baseball? We will see, but I believe he can be. And that Pirates team could be good, right? Because they have the best pitcher in baseball, Paul Skeens. And so it's an interesting thing going on there. Then we have Clay Holmes of the Mets. His new position is starting pitcher. Holmes is not leaving New York, but his new role with the Mets looks quite different than his high leverage spot in the Yankees bullpen. The right-hander commanded a 3-year, $38 million deal with his new club to become a starter, something he hasn't done in the major leagues since his rookie year in 2018 with the Pirates. He started all of 4 games. But relievers turned starters have found great success of late, and Holmes could be the latest. The Mets have proven adept in revitalizing starters such as Sean Manaea and Luis Severino in recent years, and Holmes could be their latest gem. The Mets are going all in. I mean, they gave $756 million to 99 overall rated Juan Soto. Right. Yeah. Especially with Frankie Montez shut down for 6 to 8 weeks due to his lat strain, and now Sean Manaea likely to be out on the injured list for opening day. The Mets would love some length and reliability out of Holmes in 2025. So the Mets are already starting off on the wrong foot. They have World Series aspirations. That's what they want to do. That's the only thing that makes the $756 million that you give Juan Soto worth it if he wins a bunch of MVPs and you win at least 1 or 2 World Series rings. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I just don't know if the Mets can actually get it done. And then you have Jonathan India of the Royals. His new position might be left field, might be third base. We'll see. He was traded to the Royals from the Reds in November for starter Brady Singer. India is set to learn a new position in his first year with Kansas City. In addition to second base, India and returning Royal Michael Massey will each be taking spring training reps in left field, a position neither has played before in the major leagues. And then in 2024, India, who played exclusively second in the majors, was rated as a plus fielder for the first time by outs above average. A very important thing that we've mentioned here throughout this episode. The 2021 National League Rookie of the Year was drafted in 2018 as a third baseman and will be receiving occasional reps at the hot corner with the Royals too. But MJ Melendez's struggles in left, -6 OAA in 2024. Kansas City could benefit from trying India and Massey in the outfield. So those are the guys that are trying to new positions going into the 2025 season. But the Major League Baseball regular season is scheduled to start in Tokyo, Japan on March 18th on Fox, with MLB's traditional opening day scheduled for Thursday, March 27th, right? As I said, the 2025 MLB season is scheduled to begin overseas with a 2-game series between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs in Tokyo, Japan. The Dodgers and Cubs will play on Tuesday, March 18th and Wednesday, March 19th. This is the 6th time that MLB season opener has taken place in Tokyo, Japan, a place where they absolutely love baseball and professional wrestling. So it's a beautiful place to start MLB opening day. And then a week after the games in Japan, MLB opening day is slated for Thursday, March 27th. 2025. So the question is, who are your World Series picks? Let me know in the comments, who are your World Series picks? I'm staying with my original way too early picks of the Dodgers versus the Rangers in the World Series. Who are your way too early picks? What do you think? And let's talk about that next time I'm here on the Champions Adjust Sports Talk Show. But most importantly, the most important thing that I've talked about throughout this whole episode is that we are praying to the baseball gods. We're praying to the baseball gods for a healthy season from Jacob deGrom and Mike Trout. So everyone, right before you go to bed at night, say a little prayer to the baseball gods that we get a healthy season from Jacob deGrom and we get a healthy season from Mike Trout, because it's best for baseball and that's what baseball fans want to see, and we freaking deserve it. And that's all I have for you today, or on this week on the Champions Adjust Sports Talk Show. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being with me every week. I appreciate you very much. Head over to champsadjust.com for all things Champions Adjust, and share this with a friend, because that's what you should do, because this is cool. Everyone should love baseball. But I'll see you guys next time, and lots of love. Cheers.